Hello everybody and welcome to DNQ Football for our second ever interview. We are joined by Joshewa Frederick-Charlery, the captain of the Cayman Islands. If you don't know about the Cayman Islands, it is a very small collection of islands, as you'd expect, in the Caribbean, a British overseas territory, with a population around 70,000, which means they could all fit into Wembley and there'd still be room for about 20,000 more. So, you might be surprised to know that this tiny island nation is actually not doing bad at all in the FIFA Men's World Rankings. 196 at the moment, a successful Nations League, a difficult group in the World Cup Qualifiers, and who knows what the future holds. But Joshewa, we are very, very happy to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Very pleased to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Just to echo what Tom said, really appreciate you putting some time aside just to talk through everything with us, talk through club football and international bits and bobs. It's great to have you with us, so appreciate it. Just before we get into everything Cayman Islands and national team stuff, and as Tom mentioned there, World Cup qualifiers, CONCACAF Nations League bits and bobs. Can we sort of almost talk about like the club football side of things first? So you were born and raised in Cayman Islands, played football in the Caymans for Academy SC, Bodden Town for a little bit in the US for Lancers 2, I believe. And then in August, you got your move across the Atlantic for to play for OTP in Finland.
Yeah.
How did all kind of talk to us about that? How did that kind of come about? How did that opportunity arise?
It came about with the agency I'm working with right now, OPSM. They were trying to get me back playing at a good level after being out because of COVID, being without a club, and stuff, and just playing back home. But they got me with a USL 2 team in the summer, so I played in USL 2 for 2.5 months.
Okay.
And then after that, I kind of chilled out in the US for a bit till the opportunity for Finland arise. So as soon as I got the offer, it was between them, OTP, and a few other teams. And I decided that I would go with OTP, and OTP seemed like the right fit. So
nice.
I don't regret my decision at all. I had a very successful season. Felt I'd done well.
Nice one, mate. Yeah, well, we spoke a little bit just before we went live about the Finnish league and the setup and things like that, and obviously how they can't play throughout the winter because of the weather conditions. You obviously joined about halfway through the season, managed to break through into the team. Congratulations, great move for you. How have you found moving to Finland? Has it been quite a change for you? Obviously, there's not just the weather and the time difference, but what's the football side been like as well?
The football style is a bit more like direct. The pace is a lot slower than like international football and even the US, because in the US in international football, it's a lot of physicality behind it. Whereas in Finland, there is that level of physicality, but it's not the same level of pace and intensity that is, in the international game, even back home.
Joshua, what would you say? I guess this is almost like a question with two parts, really. What has been like the biggest challenge for you moving to Finland? I guess what's been the biggest challenge, would you say, from a footballing standpoint? Would you say it's the physicality or adapting to that slower pace?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely the physicality. I would say the physicality is definitely has been my biggest challenge since I've been there.
Just like sort of big physical strikers and that more direct style of play. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. And then from like away from the football, like how have you found that? What's been the biggest challenge from that point? Kind of being away from your family. Has that been difficult, or have you kind of taken to that?
I've kind of taken to being away from my family. Like I've gotten used to it over the years, going away to college and stuff.
Sure.
But I would say definitely the weather, because even though I've been in college in America and it snowed and all, that is a different level.
Yeah.
It's a different
Just
level.
freezing in Finland, is it?
Yeah. It's brisk, man. It's brisk.
It's brisk. I love it. Cool. Well, I was gonna say, yeah. You were saying before we came on that the season's finished now, and so what's kind of your deal with OTP? Have you got an agreement in place to be? Are you there next season? Or is that kind of up for? Is next season a little bit to be confirmed?
Yeah, next season is a little to be confirmed.
Okay.
Because gotta speak to them, see what they want, and
Sure.
we will have this next year.
Yeah, well, all the best for that. I was going to say we were doing a little bit of research and stuff before the interview, and it had appeared and did a lot. You were making a bit of an impression there, and made some strong appearances before the end of the season. So, all the best for that. All the best for that, mate. I hope all goes well. Now, from kind of our side, the DNQ channel is dedicated to the smaller international nations. So that's kind of where our bread and butter is, and kind of what we absolutely love about football, and that's why we were so keen to get you on the show. So if we can kind of almost go back to the national team, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Before we talk about, I guess, some of the results and some of the campaigns, I'm kind of keen to sort of get a bit of an idea of what football's like in the Caymans. Kind of what's the attitude like towards football in the country? Kind of do kids and did you, for example, always grow up like wanting to play football and wanting to play for the national team?
Yeah, ever since I could remember, like I've been going to watch national team games, and some of the players I used to watch, I ended up playing with them, and I used to like telling them all the time. I'd be like, "Yeah, I remember when I used to watch you play. Now I'm playing with you." And yeah, it's been like a lot of kids and growing up, we believe and we love football because it's our national sport here. Like everyone, whether they play basketball now or run track, they all like started playing football. Everyone kicks a ball. Everyone is capable of a kick around or scrimmage. So we have big football nation, but I feel like we don't get enough. We don't get enough invested into our football.
Okay.
Yeah, so that because of that, the more talented players, they don't really get the best treatment. They don't get the best avenue to make it or to improve or excel their game.
Okay.
That's really interesting, actually. So obviously, you talked about playing alongside some of the players that you kind of idolised growing up and things like that. Obviously, 24 years of age now, captaining the side recently as well. But you're actually in the squad, as early as 2015 for the World Cup qualifiers against Belize. I mean, can you describe what that was like? What was that like to be part of that squad?
That was actually crazy, to be honest, because the talent we had in our team was very good, and going to play Belize, they were like 50 rankings above us or something crazy like that, and we weren't expected to get anything out of both games, and we ended up drawing both games.
Yeah,
just losing by the away goal at home. We conceded in the last few minutes. But that was crazy for me. Even not playing, not getting any minutes, I was proud. Like I felt good just to be a part of that team. I felt like a privilege, and I felt like that helped me go and learn things from the older players, especially not being able to play.
Yeah, and then we saw that actually, didn't we? So again, we were kind of looking at results. We were looking at kind of CONCACAF Nations League stuff, World Cup qualies this time round, and how close you guys came in that World Cup qualification campaign just to get through to that next stage. I guess almost kind of from that point, if you sort of fast forward 3 years, 2018, your first sort of full cap against Jamaica in the Nations League qualifiers, I believe. Now, you kind of already had that experience of being in the squad. You said it was great. What was it like then one step further and to get that first full cap. So, yeah, what was that debut like? How much do you remember?
To be honest, I remember the whole game like it was yesterday. It was definitely like one of my biggest games in my career because not only did I think I received man of the match for my team for the game, and then the Jamaican players were giving me like ratings. They were telling me like I did well, and hearing that from the likes of like Mariappa and Andrew Blake, that crazy because it was humbling. Like you said, I watched these guys grow while I was growing up. I watched these guys on TV to play for Jamaica, so playing against them, it was crazy. It was a crazy experience.
Yeah, I bet. And then I kind of, we're almost sort of pinpointing those kind of, I guess, those key points, those highlights in kind of your international career so far. And but there's a few that really, really stand out. And kind of the next one is kind of fast forward again, 18 months, couple of years, and then it's the Nations League itself. New manager Ben Pugh comes in, steps into the role, hands you that armband straight away, captain the side for the first time. How did that feel, and how was that kind of a different feeling to those previous experiences? You've been given the captaincy for your nation. I mean, that must feel incredible, right?
Oh, it was incredible. Like even like when I still put on the band, games later, I still feel that same feeling I felt the first time.
Yeah.
So it just for me, it was humbling to receive that role in the team, because I feel like I am a leader with or without the captain man. So for me, it is and still is an honor every time I wear the captain man.
And obviously, that Nations League, not only were you the captain, but it was such a successful Nations League campaign, really. I know obviously there was some games that you didn't win, but you won 4 of the 6 games, which is incredible. Obviously, the kind of main one, really, a win over Barbados, which is, incredible as well. How was the team feeling? What was the atmosphere like as those first few games, you're winning? What was the atmosphere like both in the dressing room and back at home? Could you feel the support as well?
We could have felt this. We felt the support, but we had to. I think the fact that we had to overcome a lot of challenges is the reason why we played with so much passion in those first 2 games to finish the first 2 games with 6 points. We went through a lot of challenges, and it helped us come together as a team and just fight to get the result, because we felt that we were the only ones that believed that we could do anything, us and our fans. Other than that, we were seen as one of the underdogs in the group, and at the end of the group, at the end of the group and the end of the Nations League, we ended up fighting for second place or first place with Barbados. So I felt we not only surprised the world, but we surprised some fans that did doubt us as well.
How much did the new manager have an impact on the dressing room going into this tournament?
To be honest, Coach Ben had a very big impact, very positive impact on us. He helped us to like really focus on what we are good at and be realistic with ourselves. But not only that, focus on believing in ourselves, because we lacked that for a long time. Our biggest issue as a nation has always been like our believing that we can do something, believing that we're good enough. And I feel like he really instilled that in us, and that was a big factor to why we got some of the results we got.
That's really, really interesting, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, what a campaign that was for that Cayman side. I mean, more more recently, the World Cup qualifiers, right? So the Caymans came fifth in what was a really, really tough group. Suriname, Canada, Aruba, and Bermuda. I think that was the name of that group. And, some mixed results in there, of course. Canada game stands out. Before talking about kind of that in more detail, I almost kind of want to take a step back, Joshua, if that's right, and kind of go like, what was it like kind of competing in World Cup qualification from your point of view, guy from the Cayman Islands, captaining your country on what is one of the biggest footballing stages? Talk us through that.
For me, it was unreal because, like you guys mentioned earlier, I was in the side that when we played against Belize, and it was, funny enough, it was not the same feeling, because it was almost like and it was not the same feeling as a Nation League. It felt like surreal because the World Cup doesn't come around too often. World Cup qualifiers don't come too often. So just being a part of that and a part of that team, it was a surreal feeling. I can't explain it. I can't explain how good it felt.
And kind of going into so you've been drawn, right? We just named who made that group up. Really tough group. Going into that campaign, off the back of a good Nations League campaign, as we spoke about, what were the ambitions of the team before? Was it very much like we just want to, we really want to kind of compete in each game, or was there? Was that it?
I would say it was our objective was just to compete, because realistically, when you look at teams like Suriname and Canada, they're different class. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, players but players and individuals that have played and play at the highest level in club football, aren't they? I mean, you did, as you said, had some horribly difficult fixtures. Most notably that defeat to Canada. If we kind of let's put that result to one side, I've got to ask, what is it like sharing the pitch with players that have played in the Champions League, Alphonso Davies, but kind of also fantastic players like Larin and Pieta for Canada? What is that like, kind of lining up? You're in the tunnel, you walk out onto the same pitch and you see those elite players on the other side of the pitch. What's that like?
To be honest, I didn't, because of the competitor I kind of turned that off until after the game. So, after the game, before the game, I was just looking at them as regular players, and I kind of used that to help me while I'm playing the game as well. So after the game now, I had nothing but even more respect for Alphonso Davies, because he is at a true elite level. He doesn't stop running.
How far, Joshua? How fast is he? We've all seen him on TV. How fast is this guy?
He is rapid.
He's rapid.
He is rapid. Trust me. He's not a slow chat. Definitely one of the fastest players probably in the world.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of like you said yourself personally, you almost turn that switch off, in the sense of you just look at them as opposition players. We've spoken about kind of the mindset from the campaign to compete. Is that very much what yours and the team's mindset is going into, really, really tough games like that? Is the mindset they're just 11, let's go out there and kind of give them a game?
Yeah, that was the mindset, to be honest. But I feel like still some players got a little starstruck, Some of the younger players, some of them that did not have not really played on this kind of level yet, or even at international game. So some of them, but then there were some that stood up to the challenge, and it was like another day of football too. So we had both sides. I must say, to be honest, if I'm being honest, we had both sides.
Yeah, a learning curve for
sure. Yeah.
For players young and old, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, across the whole group, that's probably one of the toughest groups that you could have had in that round, realistically, with every team being a really good side. Yeah. Obviously, I know it was the last result in the group, but that draw against Bermuda, really showing probably the togetherness of what is a young squad. But focusing, if we can, still on the opposition, who do you think was Alphonso Davies the best player that you played against in that whole thing? Or, from your point of view, were there any attackers for these sides that you thought, okay, I'm in a serious game now?
The striker for Canada, Cavallini.
Yeah.
He came in I think he came in and he scored a hat trick. But for me, it wasn't his ability or nothing. It was just his eagerness and even though they were winning, the game was done and dusted. He came on and he was firing at all cylinders. Come on in and walk around the pitch. No, he was on to I want to run the score up. I want to score. You understand? For me, he was probably the most dangerous player that I played against. Even though he only came on the pitch for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, do you take those kind of what you've just said there about kind of the professionalism of this player, the performance that they put in, despite the fact that the game was done? What do you take from that personally, Joshua? Do you kind of look at those sort of players, look at those performances, and take that and apply that to your own game? Do you kind of use those opportunities against those elite players to be I'm going to add that to kind of my sort of profile as a player?
No, I definitely do, because like I said, and I will say it again, it's to play against those players is a truly humbling experience. So I would say I watch, like you said, their attitudes and the hunger they bring to the game. Those are the kind of things I can learn from them, and their skill set as well. But the more mental side of the game and just seeing what I lack mentally that I need to work on to get to that elite level. But yeah, for sure.
You've been involved in the national team. We've mentioned that sort of first squad call up with the Belize fixture. You've been involved in the national team for 6-7 years now. In that time, who would you say has been the most kind of influential Cayman Islands player, sort of on yourself?
So you mean in my team, that?
Yeah, in your team, or kind of growing up watching the team, but kind of then as in that time that you've been in that time that you've then sort of been in the squad, who's sort of been that influence, that biggest influence on you whilst being part of that national squad? Put you on the spot. You have to pick. You have to pick someone now.
Put me on the spot.
You can't say yourself.
And I'm not gonna say myself. I would say my one of my captains, he was the captain before me. He was the goalkeeper in the Jamaica game. His name is Ramon Seeley.
Yeah.
Absolute legend in our game. One of the best goalkeepers I've ever played with. For me, he's been a big inspiration. He's done some unreal things. So just watching him play with him, it brings out something extra.
Yeah, brilliant.
And Joshua, we touched on it was a challenging World Cup campaign. There was some, apart from the Canada results, even though they were defeats, there was still some respectable results in there for sure.
Yeah.
CONCACAF Nations League draw next year. Is the ambition of the side, we're going to go one better and try and win the group, try and get promotion to League B?
I think I speak for the squad and CIFA when I say, I think that is the ambition, because I feel like we were that close with very limited resources the last time, especially not knowing what we have to give to the Nations League, and having no experience. Obviously, it was a new competition. I feel like we can go one up and win the league, regardless of who we play against. But it's just about us believing in that, and the association believing that we can do it as well.
Yeah, I think you're going to be in good stead for that. As you said, your group last time included Barbados, and for them to be in the same group at that tier of the Nations League, they're a good side for that tier. So to compete and push them as closely as you did, I think you're going to be in good stead for a promotion push for it. That competition in itself, Joshua. You know, that the kind of the campaign that we're speaking about was the inaugural campaign. It's the first sort of full CONCACAF Nations League. What's that like for you and the players of nations like the Cayman Islands to have opportunities to compete against similar nations on a little bit more of a level playing field?
I think that we needed it. It's something that was needed, because the trouble is to get friendlies. Is hard, for smaller nations. We do get friendlies, but then we end up playing hard teams that are on complete different level or have a complete different skill set than us, and it doesn't benefit us because we either lose confidence or players become injured because obviously we're not up to the same physical level. But I think so.
Yeah. No, we speak to. This is the second interview we've done, but we speak, don't we, Tom, sort of at least semi-regularly with a lot of sort of CONCACAF players that compete in the, should we say, sort of the lower end of the Nations League, and we've only ever heard kind of positive comments on what the tournament is about and kind of what it actually does for those sort of footballing nations and those football associations, so the opportunity to compete, as I said, on a level playing field with nations of similar ability. We've spoken. We touched on the manager Pugh. He himself just 31 years of age. The Cayman squad is fairly young, up and coming, with kind of a blend of a few experienced heads in there as well. What is kind of not just Nations League, I guess, almost looking ahead in time as well about World Cup qualification, the World Cup actually branching out to 48 teams as well. What is the ambition? What's the ambition of this Cayman Islands team?
Well, first and foremost, I think our ambition is it's been since we've started the Nations League the first time, and it's going to the Gold Cup, qualifying for our first ever Gold Cup.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
That would be, scenes.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be our first step, and then World Cup can definitely be a conversation, especially with there being chatter about the World Cup being every 2 years now. Don't know if it will go through, but it would be a lot. That would for me, that would benefit smaller nations, because for the elite teams to go continuously to World Cup is gonna be tough. They would have to change teams and all kind of stuff would come into play. So I mean that would be
that in itself, that kind of whole story of a World Cup every 4 years or every 2 years is it's kind of picking up pace, isn't it? It's it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that pans out for us here on DNQ. Me and you, Ty, we love the World Cup qualifiers. We love seeing nations like the Cayman Islands compete and seeing how far they can go. So we'll be keeping tabs on that story to see how it all unfolds for sure.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Joshua, thank you so much for your time today. It's been absolutely wonderful to get you on the show. Really great chatting to you. Some really interesting stuff there. And we're fingers crossed here at DNQ that there's a good draw for the Nations League and that the Cayman Islands can really push. I mean, that Gold Cup, wow, that really would be incredible. And obviously all the best. Yeah, it would be, absolutely. So yeah, just really, Joshua, just a huge thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate this. we could definitely do something in the future. I would look forward to it.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
absolutely.
That'd be good. After that successful Nations League campaign, Joshua.
Yeah.
Yes, man, for sure.
Well, if you've got family in the UK, Joshua, pay us a visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, man. One time, man. If I come back to Finland, yeah, who knows? I might stop by in UK.
There you go. Love to hear it, mate. Absolutely love to hear it. Obviously, all the best club-wise as well. We will be watching
for sure.
to see what happens there. But yeah, that is all from us today, mate. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, buddy. We'll speak to you soon.
All right.
And thanks to everyone who has tuned in as well to DNQ Football. How great has it been to have Joshewa Frederick-Charlery on the show? Absolutely buzzing with that second interview to get that done. Thanks for everyone who's watched live on Twitch as well. And if you are watching on YouTube, thanks as well. Of course, I now have to do the bit where I say, whatever you're watching on, follow, like, subscribe, and of course, share. Yes, the button will be down here somewhere to do one of those things. Absolutely great to have you with us. Any final closing remarks from you, Ryan?
Nothing from me. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Hit that like and subscribe button. We will see you next time. Thank you so much.